The Zaltharian Empire had stood for 3,000 years, its crystalline spires reaching toward twin suns that bathed the galaxy in their ancient light. Prince Kavrath, heir to the Crimson Throne, had survived 16 assassination attempts before his 20th solar cycle. His father, Emperor Zaltos the Undying, had grown paranoid in his immortality, and the court whispered that the next blade might come from the throne itself. So Kavrath did what any prince with enemies in every shadow would do. He acquired a guardian that could not be bribed. Poisoned or turned the Void Reaver, Kavrath had found the creature in the Hedian pits of Corax 9, a moon where things that should not exist crawled from tears in reality itself. The Reaver was magnificent and terrible, 12 feet of obsidian scales, 6 eyes that burned like dying stars, and a psychic presence that could shatter minds. It bonded to Kavrath through blood ritual, an ancient magic that made the beast loyal unto death. After the bonding, no assassin survived entering Kavrath's chambers. The Reaver could sense hostile intent through walls, could taste murder on someone's soul. 7 Korthian shadow dancers died screaming. A master poisoner from the Helix Syndicate was found torn apart, her molecular disruptor still holstered. Even a diplomat from the Federation of Minds gifted with telepathy and mental shields that could deflect neural storms had his consciousness unraveled before he could speak a single treacherous word. Prince Kavrath felt safe. For the first time in his life, then the humans arrived. The Terran diplomatic corps had requested an audience. Something about trade agreements and cultural exchange. Kavrath's advisors were skeptical. Humans were newcomers to the galactic stage, barely 2 centuries spacefaring. They had no psionic abilities, no biological weapons, no remarkable physical traits. They were, by all accounts, unremarkable, but they were persistent. The human delegation was led by Ambassador James Chun, a man whose personnel file was disappointingly ordinary. No military honors, no genetic enhancements. Just a career diplomat with a pleasant smile and an extensive knowledge of interstellar trade law. When James arrived at the palace, Kavrath watched from his private viewing gallery as the human was processed through security. 57 different scanners examined him for weapons, toxins, nanomachines, dimensional anchors, and quantum destabilizers. All came back negative. "He is cleared to enter your chambers, my prince," announced Captain Velrith, head of the Royal Guard. "Though I must advise, the Reaver will determine if he means harm," Kavrath interrupted. "It always does." James Chen stood before the ornate doors to the prince's inner sanctum, straightening his diplomatic sash. He'd been warned about the Void Reaver, about the Badas, about the screaming. The other ambassadors had drawn lots to see who would take this assignment. James had volunteered. His colleagues thought he was insane. The doors opened with a hiss of pressurized air, and James stepped inside. The Reaver materialized from shadows that shouldn't exist in the well-lit chamber. Its 6 eyes fixed on James with the weight of collapsing stars. The temperature dropped 20 degrees. Reality seemed to bend around the creature as it approached. Each step a promise of violence. James stood perfectly still, hands visible, breathing steady. His heart hammered, but he didn't run. Running triggered predator instincts in most species. His xenobiology training had covered that. The Reaver circled him, its psychic presence pressing against his mind like frozen needles. James felt it probing, searching for murderous intent, for deception, for any hint of threat to its master. Then the creature stopped, its massive head lowered, nostrils flaring as it sniffed James's jacket. The hostile presence withdrew slightly. The Reaver sniffed again, more insistently, focusing on James's sleeve and shoulder. Then it made a sound no one in the palace had ever heard before, a rumbling. "Oh, Mose." Please sound behind his observation screen. Prince Kavrath leaned forward, eyes wide. "What is happening?" The Reaver's tail, which had been rigid with threat, began to sway. The creature sniffed James's hand, then impossibly pressed its massive head against the human's palm. James couldn't help but smile. "Sorry," he called out, addressing the prince he couldn't see but knew was watching. "I was playing with my dog this morning before I left the ship." Golden retriever named Max. I probably still smell like him. Your dog? Kavrath's voice came through hidden speakers, confusion evident. Yes, your highness. Canis familiaris. Domesticated companion animal. Humans have kept them for about 30,000 years. James scratched behind the reaver's jaw ridge, and the creature's eyes actually closed in contentment. We bred them from wolves' cooperative pack hunters. The relationship shaped both our species. The reaver, the unkillable guardian that had slaughtered the galaxy's most dangerous assassins, was now leaning into the human's touch like an oversized puppy. Kavrath emerged from his gallery, descending the hidden stairs with a mixture of disbelief and wonder on his crystalline features. No one has ever. May I? James gestured toward the creature. At Kavrath's bewildered nod, James sat cross-legged on the floor. The void reaver terror of the palace, devourer of minds, immediately laid down next to him, its massive head in the human's lap. The thing about humans, James said, scratching the creature's scales in a way that produced more pleased rumbles, is that we spent our entire evolution forming bonds with other species. We domesticated wolves, cats, horses, birds, even insects. We have this tendency to look at creatures that could kill us and think, I'm going to be friends with that. Kavrath sat down slowly, watching his supposedly loyal guardian melt under human hands. The reaver was meant to be a weapon. It's also a living being, James replied. A social one, I'd guess, despite appearances. Probably pack-oriented in its natural state. It bonded to you out of ritual and magic, but he looked at the prince directly. When was the last time you just spent time with it? Not as a weapon, but as a companion? The prince had no answer. James continued. Every creature we've ever domesticated started as something dangerous. Wolves could tear us apart. Wild horses could crush our skulls. But we learned that the most powerful bonds aren't forged through dominance or magic. They're built through trust, respect, and genuine affection. The reaver's tail thumped against the marble floor. Your Highness, James said with his diplomatic smile, I think humanity might have something to teach the galaxy after all. Prince Kavrath looked at his fearsome guardian, now contentedly receiving scratches from a species the galaxy considered unremarkable. And for the first time in 3,000 years of imperial history, the Crimson Throne began to reconsider what strength actually meant, and somewhere on the human diplomatic ship, a golden retriever named Max wagged his tail, having just changed the course of galactic history without ever leaving his bed.